guys, you're listening to another episode of the Bronco Breakdown. My name is Mariam, and I'm here with Carrie and Ashby Baldwin.
Hi.
Today, some of our topics will be discussing the pros and cons of 8th straight versus open periods, the wellness office, and our advice on how to avoid drama. Now on to our first segment, a conversation on open periods or 8th straight. I have 8th straight, and I think it's great because I get to take extra classes that I like, but I also don't get a lunch, but I think I can last without a lunch, especially now that it's virtual. I can eat lunch during my classes.
I think that's fair, but I have an open period 6th hour, and I think it's kind of beneficial to get a break, maybe like go outside, get some fresh air. It really depends.
I think it definitely depends on who you are as a person. Can you stay focused for 8 different periods of the day? I think it really matters. Do you need a break, or can you stay focused for the whole day?
My schedule is normal. My schedule is normal, though. So I have a normal schedule where I just have most of my classes during the day, and then I have my one lunch hour, which is kind of like an open, but kind of not. So basically, I just have all my classes and then my lunch. I mean, I personally prefer some sort of open. I think it gives you, like, a time to relax. I mean, if you're a hard worker and you want that, like, if you have that determination, then I think you should go for it, to go for 8 straight. I personally think that I'd like to have an open just to get some work done and, like, homework and stuff. I feel like that'd be beneficial, but 8 straight sounds fun for people who are very focused. So it all depends on you and who you... I'd say coming from me, definitely have an open, because I know most kids, some suffer from ADHD and you can't really stand still, so I think it's beneficial if you have that aspect. But if you're a hard worker, even if you do have ADHD, if you can fight it, then obviously go for it. Like, if that's what you want to do, go for it.
You also have to figure out how to balance everything, homework and after-school activities. If you have so many after-school activities, I would definitely go for an open so you can get homework done, and then you have time after school to relax and do your after-school activities. But if you don't really have many and you want to do 8 straight, I would say go for it. It's a nice little challenge, and I think you'll enjoy it. Next on Bronco Breakdown, we will have an interview talking about the wellness office. We are back with Mrs. Kirkorsky from the Wellness Department. Thank you so much for being here. So first off, can you introduce yourself and give a little background of what you do at Barryton High School?
Yeah, my name is Sarah Kirkorsky. I'm one of the school psychologists in the Wellness office. At BHS, I kind of do a variety of things. I work individually with students, run groups, work with parents, work with families, and just in general, if students are struggling or need support, I kind of can provide it, for a variety of things, anxiety, depression, social issues or concerns with friends, and, a lot of things like that.
What are some reasons a student would come to the wellness office?
Students come to the wellness office kind of for everything, issues related to school, grades, attendance. They're struggling to focus. They need help kind of learning how to manage their workload or get organized. Students come to the wellness office also because they're feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. I think anxiety is a very common emotion these days that kids feel. And so when they come to us, we can help them problem solve kind of how to manage their workload or how to balance things. And that might involve, taking something off their plate or reorganizing the way that they're doing things to free up more time for themselves. Students come to the wellness office if they're concerned about a friend, or they know that their friend is really struggling and they would like for someone to reach out to them. Kids come to the wellness office because they're struggling with their peer relationships and just kind of want to talk about it, or because they're feeling, kind of like they need just to talk to someone and get things off their chest. And then, they may come back later, or in one session, we might have just talked about it and they feel better, just kind of venting to someone, and then they kind of go along their way. So kids come down for a lot of different things. The other kind of cool thing about the wellness office when we're in person is that it helps connect you to other kids. It makes you realize that there's a lot of people that are seeking support for a variety of different reasons. So, just because you see someone in the wellness office doesn't necessarily mean they're struggling. We work with transfer students to help them kind of get comfortable at the high school. We work with student athletes. We work with kids with accommodations. So there's just a lot of different things going on. And so you might see someone in our office that you end up seeing over and over, and then you can say, oh, hey, like I've seen you before, and kind of build a friendship. We've also had kids say that they like to support one another. Like they felt really supported by the other kids that were down there, which is pretty cool.
What are some of the signs of depression, and how can depression affect students differently than adults?
So some common signs and symptoms of depression are obviously feelings of sadness or, irritability, just kind of a change in mood, loss of interest in doing things that you typically enjoy doing, maybe quitting a sport or activity, not wanting to hang out with your friends, feeling really tired all the time, not having any energy, potentially sleeping or eating more or less than normal, and just kind of having that just kind of lethargic, tired, kind of feeling like everything is so hard just to get through the day. So those are the most common signs and symptoms. For kids and adults, the signs are usually about the same. It can be harder to identify in kids, especially high school students, because some of those symptoms are common adolescent behaviors. So being irritable or being tired, can be something that is just normal for kids. Sleeping a lot happens a lot for teenagers. So sometimes it can be hard to recognize if what we're seeing is just something that every kid goes through, or if it really is a bigger issue. And so for that, we look at how long it's been going on. So if it's been going on for longer than 2 weeks, and if it's really impacting a kid, either academically, emotionally, socially, is when we start to think there might be something more going on here than just being a typical teenager.
Once you enter the wellness center, what can students do to find someone to talk to?
So when you come in, you'll kind of check in at the front, and again, this is for in-person learning. And if you've never met with someone in the wellness office before, it's kind of like whoever's available. So the student would just ask at the front, is there someone that I could talk to? And then our administrative assistant could come and just ask us if we were available that hour, and that student would be linked up with that person. We try very hard to make sure there's always at least one person in the office that's not in a meeting or meeting with another student or in a group, is just available if there were to be someone that came down. If a student felt like that was a little stressful, to just kind of walk in and hope that everything worked out, then we're available via email. So a student could always reach out to us. Our contact information is on the school website. So they could, or if they've had a friend that's come down before, then they could email any one of us. There's 5 people in the wellness office. And then we could set up a time that then that student would know that we were waiting for them. We knew they were coming. Sometimes that's a little more comfortable than just kind of dropping in. And then I guess I would say for remote learning, it's all obviously kind of, you kind of have to start with an email or some type of reaching out. But again, if a student wanted to set up an appointment with us, they could reach out either to us or their counselor, who could put them in touch with us. And then we could set up a Zoom or a way to meet that way.
What are some tips for students who are struggling?
The biggest thing is just to know that you're not alone. There's a lot of people that are kind of wondering what to do now and out of sorts, if you will. But just to reach out. There's no problem, too small if you're feeling stressed or just not yourself. To reach out and just talk to someone. Like I said before, a lot of times just kind of talking about what's going on in the world or what's going on in your life can be really therapeutic, and connecting with other people is something that has been proven to really help, even remotely. Just that, kind of back and forth conversation, someone to listen to you and either give you advice or just confirm that what you're feeling is normal and that you've got this, that pat on the back. So if students are struggling, the biggest thing is just to never feel weak or, like it's not appropriate to reach out, and just ask for help.
What can someone do if they feel like their friend is struggling?
So kind of similar to if they were struggling themselves, they can reach out to their counselor or someone in the wellness office and just kind of explain the situation and see if we could touch base with that student. I guess I would, question too the level of struggle. So everything that we've talked about so far today is if the student is safe and everything's kind of okay, but they could use a little extra support. If a friend of theirs is in crisis or is in danger, then obviously they should tell an adult right away so that we could speak with that student. But if it's more of, I've just noticed that they seem a little down or they're not as interested in things as they used to be, or I know they're stressed and overwhelmed, then reaching out to a trusted adult, and then that adult can point them in the right direction.
I know that there's a system that if you feel like you need someone to talk to, you go to tell your trusted adult. What can students do if they feel like they don't have a trusted adult?
Every student does have a counselor that, is assigned to them, that even if you felt like you didn't really know them that well, or you're not sure if you can trust them, they can at least point you in the right direction of, I feel like I need to talk to someone, or can you give me some advice? Another thing that just started this year is the rollout of what's called the Meta app, META. And so students can download that app onto their phone or device, and then they can access support that way. So during the school day, the school staff is on the app, and then it will tell you whether they're available to talk or not. So a student could go onto the app and just find any adult that said they were available and kind of reach out to them that way. And then after school hours, if there's a community resource that's available, then they're on there as well. And again, that's not for crisis situations, but for just kids that need to talk or want to kind of start the process of finding someone to talk to, but aren't sure where to even go with that. That is kind of a nice option because there's a lot of different people on there, so it could pair you up with someone.
What is BHS trying to do to end the stigma around mental health?
Right. I think that we've really tried to, in the wellness office, offer a bunch of different things. Like I was saying before, we run a group for transfer students. We do groups for Green Dot. We do groups for PACT and Snowball. And so we have a lot of things that are not mental health related. And then we have supports for students who are struggling. And so I think when you come into the office, instead of looking around and saying like, oh my gosh, all these people must be like, in a bad spot, it's like, wow, like all these kids are doing all these different things. And I don't mind being here either, because Like, I see students that I never would have thought would have been in here. And then by having very open and honest conversations with groups like Erica's Lighthouse and bringing awareness to Suicide Prevention Month and things like that. And the more we talk about it, I feel like the more the stigma is reduced, because people start to realize that you don't know who's been through something before, and we all go through stuff. And high school is a time where there's a lot going on, and it's very rare for a student to go through 4 years of high school and not have some level of struggle or, face some hardship. And so by acknowledging that everybody goes through stuff from time to time, we all need to support one another and not judge one another. I think that really helps create a supportive community at BHS. And I think the wellness office does a good job of kind of bringing all these different groups together to say, hey, I have no idea why you're here, but hi, how are you? And kind of reducing the stigma in that way.
With the pandemic going on, I know so much has changed, and now that we are online school environment, what is the wellness office doing differently?
So the Wellness Center is offering, telehealth type visits, similar to everyone else. So we're available for any student that wants to meet with us. And like I said, our contact information is on the school website, so you can find who we are there. If you've ever worked with us before or sent us an email before, we all have links in our email signatures where you can even make appointments with us if you want. And then to be a little more proactive, the wellness team has been reaching out to students who, maybe their teacher's a little worried about them, or they haven't logged into their Zoom classes or haven't been turning their homework, or their parents have reached out. So we've been kind of reaching out to students that way to try and just connect, again, be a friendly face, help students to get resources if they need it. You're struggling to find their Zoom links or find their class agendas, or, whatever it is, problem solve with kids and help them get back on track. And then if students are at school for any reason, we're obviously here to help them and can meet, like I said, our main point of contact right now is through Zoom, but we've definitely been doing those meetings to try and support kids through the pandemic, because it's definitely a weird time, and so much has changed, but still trying to make things as normal as possible.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I would say, I think all the staff at BHS definitely is here for the students, and we want to support you guys as much as possible. And if there's something that you need, the best way for us to get it to you is just for you to communicate it with us. And I know that can be difficult, because it's hard to meet someone for the first time on Zoom. But the more you do it, the less awkward it is. And, I think, like I said before, I think people feel better after they kind of just talk about things, or just kind of hearing, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that so many other people were feeling that way. So I would just encourage kids to reach out whenever. No problem is too small. And yeah, the Meta app seems like a really good way to connect, because it kind of puts everyone all in the same place, and it's just there when you need it. So that way you're not feeling stressed and having to go search for someone's email or search for someone's contact information. It's just kind of there. So we would definitely recommend for kids to download that now, and then that way they have it if they ever need it.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mrs. Kirkorsky, for joining us on this episode on the podcast. For everyone listening, don't leave just yet. Next on Bronco Breakdown, we have some tips on how to avoid drama to help make your year a little less stressful.
We're back, and now we're going to be sharing our advice on how to avoid drama to help make your year at school less stressful. These pieces of advice come from our own experiences, and hopefully they can help you guys. Mariam, do you want to start?
I would first start off with saying that your friends really do help you throughout the school year, and you really need good friends. And it's okay if your friends do change over time. That's natural, and it just happens.
I agree. I think that friends are definitely a resourceful, what do you call it? Resourceful people from when you're, like, stressed and, like, you just need to go to someone. And if you, like, don't trust anyone but your friends, there's someone you can really go to. The Soul Buddies is also a great opportunity, like, if you're stressed throughout the day, and you can go to that club after school and pet the cute dogs and just relax if you've had a really stressful day with drama. So, yeah. And also it's the fact that animals do calm down your anxiety and stress levels. And I think that if you can't go to your family, then definitely go to your friends. You can't just be stuck in a hole forever. You need to get it out once in a while. And definitely, I know a lot of people struggle with holding stuff in, but I think it's best, and the wellness is a great opportunity to do that.
I agree.
Toxic friendships are obviously a thing that a lot of people deal with in groups, especially if a big friend group, like my group of friends. It's a bunch of people who are connected very well, but obviously it doesn't always go that well. And the one way I know that we all work it out is usually we talk to each other or we talk to another person to figure it out together, and then we all just go back and be perfectly fine. And then, it'll always happen again, but we're always able to work it out. And that's what's so good about friendships, is that you're all so different, but also so,
similar.
Yes, that's the word. Okay. But you're also really similar, which is a good thing.
I feel like another way to avoid drama is to also just talk it out. Don't let it keep going. Don't get getting heated from
the littlest thing.
Yeah. So just talk. Don't let it drag on for about like a month. Just talk about it.
And definitely don't get into any physical fights, even though not at Barrington, there's not that many. Usually it's not just from toxic people. It's kind of just, keep your hands to yourself. I know it sounds really cliche, but, it's better for us, and that way we can keep our school reputation pretty well. And I think that's important to definitely everybody at our school.
Overall, the key to avoiding drama is communication. To be able to communicate with your friends and be able to tell them how you're feeling, and for you to be able to listen to them and understand how they're feeling as well.
That is all for today's episode of the Bronco Breakdown. We hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to follow us, like the video, and rate the podcast. Peace out, VHS.
Bye.